Let's bring in Ben Shapiro. He was able to listen. He's editor-in-chief of DailyWire.com, a syndicated columnist and host of The Ben Shapiro Show. So let me start with Al Franken. If the goal was to turn the tables on President Trump and the Republicans, did Al Franken's statement today do that?
I don't think Franken's statement did that, because Franken basically walked out and said, I'm innocent, but I'm leaving anyway.
Right.
So that allows everybody else to say, I'm innocent and I'm not leaving. If Franken really had any brains, what he would have done is he would have said, you know, I've made some mistakes in my life and now I'm going to do penance for them, and I wish that the President of the United States would do the same. But he didn't have the smarts to do that, or the lack of ego to do that. So instead, he didn't even take one for the team here. He's just leaving, and he's mad about it.
Does resigning in this way mean, like Conyers did, never really having to say they're sorry for actual accusations that are made against them? Because Franken has said he's not denying that these situations occurred, but he's saying that he's basically being run out of town, and he doesn't think it's fair if others are not going to be run out of town as well.
Let me be frank with you. I'm not sure he's even going to leave. I mean, he says that he's going to leave in a few weeks, but let's say that Roy Moore is elected and then he's seated without an ethics investigation, and then he turns around, Franken, and says, well, listen, Moore's here. You're going to throw me out, but you're going to keep Moore? And I think that Franken's still trying to hold on. So I think the idea that he is going to be the example the Democrats use is the guy they pushed out. So Trump and Moore have to go. It's going to be kind of weak.
There is no political pain, really, though, for the Democrats in this, because if you're talking about just a Senate seat, Minnesota, the governor there, Governor Dayton, is likely to put up Tina Smith. She's the lieutenant governor, another Democrat. When the Republicans said they wouldn't seat Moore, that was actually more politically courageous, in my opinion, because that was saying, we're going to take our chances here. We'd like to have a Republican there, but we are not going to want to seat Moore. And most of them are standing by that position.
So two things can be true at once. It can be right to boot people from office who have engaged in incredibly alleged sexual abuse, and also this can be a political hit. And the fact is that getting rid of Franken, as you say, does nothing for the Democrats to hurt them. I mean, they're going to replace Franken with another Democrat. Conyers leaving. He'll just be another member of his extended family, I'm sure, who ends up in that congressional seat because it's the fiefdom of Detroit.
That's the weirdest thing.
It's so bizarre, and none of them are qualified. I do like that his son and his grandnephew are going to get in a fight. I think it'll be like Richard III. His son's actually going to imprison his grandnephew in the Tower of London. But one of the things that is amazing is that the Republicans who have actually stood and said, listen, Moore can't be elected, or I'm not going to go vote for Moore, that's actually a political sacrifice that they're making. Democrats have yet to make an actual political sacrifice here. Let
me have you listen to Senator Bernie Sanders, who said this on CBS this morning.
We have a president of the United States who acknowledged on a tape, widely seen all over this country, that he assaulted women. So I would hope that maybe the president of the United States might pay attention to what's going on and also think about resigning.
So Sarah Sanders was asked about this in the briefing. She basically said, this is in the rearview mirror for us. The president addressed it in the campaign. I've addressed it from here. And they moved on. And she really didn't get pressed on it. But the Democrats, I think, with all this coordination, have decided if we all band together, then we can force President Trump out. I don't see that happening.
I don't think that President Trump is going to resign over allegations that he himself does not even believe to be true, even if they're credible. The fact is that this is not a matter of we're going to shame the president into resigning. This is a matter of here's a political club for us to beat the president with, and then hopefully in 2020 we can say that our house is clean, but the Republicans have not cleaned house. They have people like Moore, they have people like Trump, and we are going to stand up for women in a way that Republicans won't. Look, Bernie Sanders saying this stuff a week ago, he was saying that he thought that Al Franken might just stay. Right. So what changed? Right. Nothing changed. All that happened is the RNC endorsed Roy Moore, Trump endorsed Roy Moore, and suddenly the entire Democratic Party decided that Franken would be the sacrificial lamb so they can grab the moral high ground.
It seemed like Franken knew that, too, and that he was irritated about it. I want to get to another subject. Yesterday, apparently in a hearing, Donald Trump Jr. asserted attorney-client privilege because he had, in a conversation he had with his father. Jonathan Karl of ABC News asked Sarah Sanders about that. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump Jr. refused to talk about his conversations with the president, citing attorney-client privilege. Would the president release him from any such privilege and allow him to speak to the committee?
That's a question you would have to ask his attorneys. We believe that his lawyers had a legitimate reason and basis for not answering those questions, but that's something I would direct you to his attorneys to address more fully.
Can you explain to me how it could be attorney-client privilege when neither Donald Trump Jr. nor President Trump are attorneys?
Again, that's something that you would have to talk with Don Jr.'s attorneys about. That's not something I'm going to be able to comment from here. Matthew?
I have to say, I think Sarah Sanders answered that absolutely correctly. But what about the issue, the underlying issue, the point that can you assert attorney-client privilege if neither of the parties are attorneys?
The answer is no. I mean, the short answer is no. This is something that all lawyers know, which is why you don't have superfluous parties on legal calls. If you're talking to the lawyer, then it's privileged. If it's you and me and 100 other people, and there happens to be a lawyer on the call for one of us, then it doesn't apply unless the lawyer is the lawyer for both. I mean, theoretically, if the lawyer is the lawyer for both Donald and Donald Trump Jr., then it's possible that it's privileged, but they'd have to make that case, and I think that's a pretty weak case.
All right. Ben Shapiro, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks a lot.